Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Kelley, and today I will be presenting some information learned from Netflix data, specifically what Netflix data can tell us about ourselves and our habits. So, some background information on Netflix. They were originally a DVD mail order service and have become the number one source of downstream web traffic in America and focuses on providing quality entertainment that's propelled the business into a household name and allowed it to reach over 190 countries. This large amount of streaming has resulted in some pretty impressive data sets, and I'll be investigating this data set to answer some burning questions about Netflix. So this data set was collected from Flixible, and it's also what is available on Netflix. Don't mistake it for what is being streamed. That information is proprietary and held onto by Netflix, but we can infer what people are streaming based off of what is available. The idea, you may think of it as you can infer what people are ordering based off of what is on the menu. You may not know how many hamburgers are being ordered, but if there's 20 different hamburgers compared to one grilled cheese on the menu, it's probably, you could say with confidence that they're ordering more hamburgers than they are grilled cheese. And so we're going to be making some assumptions on people's streaming desires and according to what is on the menu. So here are some of our burning questions. Who is streaming the most? That's an international question. What type of title is most available to subscribers? When are subscribers streaming the most new content added? And how long do subscribers stream? So that's a duration question. So we'll get into our first bar chart that showcases how much Netflix has grown from 2015 to 2019. You can see that the number of titles added per year is continuously growing. And that's no surprise. I already talked about how much Netflix has reached the international reach in terms of their content. You can see in 2018, Netflix subscribers streamed over 97,000 hours in 1 minute, which is pretty crazy. So who streams the most? Right away, you can see the United States jumps out at us. They have the most titles available. Therefore, we can infer they are streaming the most. They're followed by India and United Kingdom, but it's nowhere close. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see how far ahead the United States really is. Another interesting thing to see is how low China was. I would expect with a billion people and a growing middle class that China would have had higher numbers here. But it could be that China has its own Netflix competitor. And it also could be the great Chinese internet firewall that blocks content that I always hear about. Perhaps that's why they're so low on the list. So I just thought that was kind of a surprise. Another great thing about this dashboard here is I'm actually going to switch into Tableau to show that it's interactive. My shaded map is actually a filter for my bar chart here. So if I were to just click on India, it actually isolates that one country on the right side. It's really great because let's say you wanted to see what Brazil was rather than trying to find it and then make an inference on how many are on this side by looking at it. You can just isolate that one country and pick it out on that side. So that's great to see an interactive dashboard there. And we'll go ahead and go on. So Netflix variety, our pie chart shows that we have more movies available, so that's more than likely what people are streaming. Another interesting thing that I learned is that more titles are rated mature than anything else. I would have thought it would have been something like PG, something that's safe for the whole family that anybody can watch, would be the one that's most available. But it turns out that we like our mature content. I guess it's something about sex, drugs, and violence that makes for quality entertainment. And that's what we watch because that is what's most available. So when can customers find the most new content? This is a bar chart that shows the Netflix titles added per month. And right away, you can see October, November, December, January. During the winter months of the United States is when the most new content is added, which actually makes sense because that's during the time when people are indoors. So Netflix knows they have a greater chance of gaining those eyeballs if they show new content during those months. And then you can also see a dip during the summer when people are more than likely outside. Netflix realizes this and probably decides to not add so many titles because they know how they have to compete with outdoor entertainment. Here is another bar chart that shows the top 5 directors with the most titles available. I actually don't even know the top 4, but I am very familiar with Martin Scorsese, and I'm a big fan of his work, so I'm a little curious to see what we can learn from the data on his work. And with this lollipop chart, we can see that he's got 9 titles available. Most of them are rated R. But what's great about the lollipop chart is that we have our dots at the top that can show us the maximum duration of each film. And so if I were to watch the one PG film that he has available, I can then know that I'm in for a 112-minute commitment. I've actually never heard of Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. It's a romantic drama, and I might have to add it to my watching list. So how long do we like our movies and TV shows? So if we look at the top, this focuses on the duration in minutes for movies. We can see that many titles, in fact 111 of them, have a 90-minute duration, which is the most title count duration of any other. So chances are if you're watching a film on Netflix, it's probably about 90 minutes long. If we look at the bottom line graph, we can see the title count versus the number of seasons for TV, and we can see most of them are around the 1 season, and it greatly dips off as you go up in the number of seasons. So I'm a little curious to see what were those TV shows with the most seasons. Let's say I got a long winter break ahead of me between school semesters, so I may have to check out NCIS, Grey's Anatomy, Supernatural. I already watched Trailer Park Boys, love that show, and so these are some of the highest seasoned shows available on Netflix. So if somebody's got a big commitment, a lot of time, they're probably going to be watching this. But let's say if you have commitment issues, you just want to try one and done, there's some of these shows here down at the bottom. These TV shows have the least number of seasons. They all have 1, and this list probably could have gone on for many more, as you saw from the previous chart, but these are just the top 10. So in conclusion, Netflix is growing big data. In fact, it's part of the FANG stocks, if you're familiar with those. So it'd be Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, some of the top 5 tech companies in the world. The USA streams by far the most during the winter, and we enjoy mature content the most. And we also prefer movies to be about 90 minutes long. And if I were to look to the future, I would be curious to see the availability for Hulu and Disney Plus and see how that compares to Netflix availability. I'd also love to work with actual streaming data instead of availability. So thank you all so much for listening. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you so much and have a great day. Let's go ahead and